I used to think I had it all. A great job, amazing friends, and a man who made me feel like the luckiest woman on earth. We met at a charity gala 2 years ago. I was helping organize the event, and he was there representing a sponsor. Tall, confident, and charming in that quiet, grounded way. It didn't take long for us to connect. Our first conversation felt easy. He asked questions that made me feel heard, not just talked to. After the event, he waited until everyone had left, just to walk me to my car. I remember thinking, is this what it feels like to meet your person? From there, things moved fast, but not too fast. He was thoughtful and always seemed a step ahead of what I needed. Surprise lunches at work, weekend road trips, deep conversations that lasted all night. He had this way of making me feel like I was the only person in the room, even when we weren't together. My friends adored him. My family, especially my mom, couldn't stop telling me how lucky I was, and I believed it. He proposed on our 1-year anniversary. It was just the two of us on a quiet beach, the sun setting behind us, and he pulled out this beautiful ring. I remember crying, not just from the proposal, but from this deep sense of safety. I truly believed I was stepping into the kind of love people only write about in novels. We started planning our wedding almost immediately. He didn't seem super interested in the tiny details, but I figured most men weren't. Still, he helped pick the venue, was supportive during dress shopping, and even came with me to meet the photographer. Looking back now, I realize how much I wanted it all to be perfect, maybe too much. I ignored the little things, like how he never posted me on his social media, or how he always had an excuse when I wanted to meet more of his friends. He said they lived out of state, or how he kept work and home life completely separate, never inviting me to his office events or even talking much about his coworkers. But I brushed it off. I told myself some people are just private. I didn't want to ruin a good thing by overthinking it. Besides, every time we were together, it felt real. I wasn't chasing affection. He gave it. And so, I leaned into that feeling, hard. The night before our wedding, he texted me the sweetest message. He said he couldn't wait to see me walking down the aisle, that I was the best thing that ever happened to him, and he was ready to start forever. At that moment, I felt sure. I had no idea what was coming. Looking back, the warning signs were all there. Not obvious at first, but clear enough now that I know what I was looking at. He always kept his phone on silent. At dinner, during movie nights, even when he was in the bathroom. He told me he just hated distractions, which honestly sounded like a great reason at the time. I appreciated that he was present. But sometimes, he'd get these long text threads and suddenly need to step outside for work stuff. I never questioned it. Why would I? There was also that one time I tried to surprise him at his office with lunch, but when I got there, the receptionist looked confused. She said he was out of town for a client meeting. Except, just that morning, he told me he was in the office all day. When I brought it up later, he brushed it off like it was a scheduling mix-up and even got fake annoyed with the receptionist for being nosy. I should have pressed harder, but I didn't want to seem paranoid. He always made me feel like I could trust him, and maybe, deep down, I didn't want to admit there might be cracks in the perfect story I was telling myself. The weirdest moment was at my bridal shower. My best friend Rachel pulled me aside. She said she had a strange gut feeling about him. She didn't have solid proof, just a weird vibe. I laughed it off. I told her she was just being protective, maybe even jealous that I was getting married first. That was low of me. I regret that now. Then there was his reaction to the wedding guest list. He got oddly defensive when I asked for his parents' mailing address. He told me they were traveling in Europe and wouldn't be able to attend. I thought that was sad, but not suspicious. Some families just aren't that close, right? But the thing that kept poking at me was how often he'd disappear for whole weekends early on in our relationship. He always said it was business travel, and I believed him. Now, I'm not so sure. Still, I pushed all those thoughts down. We were getting married. I had a dress. We'd sent out invitations. Deposits were paid. I was already emotionally all in, so I told myself not to rock the boat. The morning of the wedding, I felt a mix of nerves and excitement. He texted me again, saying, "See you at the altar." I smiled. My hair was perfect. My dress was everything I dreamed of. Everything was falling into place. And then, the storm hit. The ceremony was in full swing. The sun was shining, my dress was glowing, and the music was soft and perfect. I could see my fiancé standing at the altar, looking sharp in his suit. I swear, at that moment, I thought I was the luckiest woman alive. The guests rose. My dad offered his arm, and I started walking down the aisle. I looked at my fiancé, and he smiled. Calm, cool, collected. But just a few steps before I reached him, someone in the back yelled, "Stop the wedding!" I froze. Everyone turned around. A woman, mid-30s, hair in a loose bun, holding a piece of paper in her hand, walked straight down the aisle. I remember how quiet everything got. You could have heard a pin drop. She didn't yell or scream. She just walked up to me, looked me in the eyes, and said, "I'm his wife. I have the marriage certificate in my hand, and I didn't find out about this until yesterday." My body went cold. My dad looked like he was about to throw up. My fiancé, no, the man I thought I was marrying, just stood there like he didn't know what to say. The woman handed me the papers, a real marriage certificate, dated just 3 years ago. Same name, same face, no denial, nothing. And then he finally spoke. "It's complicated," he said. "We're separated. I was going to tell you." "Tell me? When? As I'm saying my vows?" I stepped back. My whole world felt like it tilted sideways. I looked out at the guests, people I loved, people who flew in for this day, and I felt sick. He turned to me, trying to explain, trying to spin the story like it was a misunderstanding. But the truth was in that paper, and in the woman's eyes. She looked more heartbroken than angry. The officiant didn't know what to do. The music stopped. My bridesmaids were whispering. My mom had tears in her eyes. And me? I walked right past him, down the aisle, and out the door. I didn't look back. I sat alone in the bridal suite for what felt like hours. My phone buzzed like crazy. Guests asking what happened. Family wondering if it was real. Him? He tried calling me 10 times, but I didn't answer. I couldn't. I was too busy trying to breathe. The next day felt like waking up in someone else's life. My wedding dress was crumpled on the floor. My makeup was smeared from crying. The hotel suite was quiet, except for the occasional vibration of my phone. Calls, texts, voice messages, all from him. And a few from his actual wife, too. I didn't answer any of them. It felt like everything I'd believed for the past 2 years was fake. Every dinner, every "I love you," every plan we made for the future, all built on a lie. And I just kept asking myself, how did I not see it? How could I have been so blind? But that guilt, it slowly turned into anger. And the worst part wasn't even that he lied. It was that he thought he could still go through with it. That he could stand there in front of our friends and families and marry me while he was still married to someone else. That's not a mistake. That's a choice. I started piecing things together. Late-night texts he wouldn't explain. Random weekend business trips. Even the way he dodged questions about his past. It was all right in front of me. I just didn't want to believe it. Then I remembered something. 3 months before the wedding, my best friend had sent me a screenshot. It was a woman commenting on one of his Facebook photos. Something like, "I miss us." He swore it was nothing. Said she was just a bitter ex. I believed him. Turns out she wasn't an ex. She was the current wife. That broke me. But I wasn't just going to sit around and cry forever. I called my dad, told him everything. He drove 3 hours just to sit with me, brought coffee, and said the words I didn't know I needed to hear. "This isn't your fault, and you don't have to stay quiet." So I posted the truth. a short message on Facebook and Instagram. The wedding is off. I found out the man I was about to marry is still legally married. I appreciate everyone who supported me. I'll be okay. That post went viral among my circles. Friends flooded me with love. Some even reached out saying they'd had weird run-ins with him too, but never connected the dots. That's when it hit me. I wasn't alone. And maybe, just maybe, this wasn't the end of my story. Maybe it was the beginning of me taking control of it. It took me a few weeks to find solid ground again. I stayed off social media. I let myself feel the pain, the betrayal, the embarrassment, but I also gave myself space to breathe. Then one day I woke up and didn't feel heavy anymore. I booked a solo trip, just me, a suitcase, and a little cabin by the coast. I left my phone on silent, took long walks on the beach, watched the sunrise without rushing anywhere, and for the first time in years, I thought only about me. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need to ruin his life. He had already done that on his own. And from what I heard through the grapevine, his actual wife kicked him out too. Guess lying to two women at once eventually catches up with you. When I came back, I started a new job. I joined a book club. I adopted a rescue dog named Milo. And yeah, I still have trust issues. Who wouldn't after something like that? But I also have boundaries now. I know my worth. And I've learned that love isn't about grand gestures. It's about honesty, consistency, and respect. A few months later, I got an email from him. The subject line said, "I'm sorry. I didn't open it because I didn't need closure from him. I'd already found it on my own. Now, whenever people ask me what happened to my engagement, I tell them the truth, but not like a victim. I tell it like a survivor. I lost the wrong person, sure, but I found myself. And honestly, I think I came out ahead. So to anyone out there doubting their gut, second-guessing their instincts, listen to that voice. Trust yourself, because no one else can protect your peace better than you. And hey, if this story hit close to home or even just made you say, wow, don't forget to like this video. Hit that subscribe button and share it with someone who needs a little reminder that they're not alone. There's life after heartbreak, and sometimes it's even better.